The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, hey guys, just give me 1 second. Just want to make sure I'm sharing my screen here. And we're gonna get started. So just give me a moment, and then. All right, hold on 1 second. We're just having a little bit of a challenge here, but we are good.
We always love challenges, Sarah.
Yeah, no big deal. Okay, well, we should all be able to see the screen now. Are you able to see, Charlie?
We are. Yep, it's all good.
All right, that is awesome. Okay, guys, well, welcome everybody to our 4-week accountability group with Deductr. We are really excited about this week's session because last week we had our kickoff session. We did a quick just like tour of how to log expenses as well as shopping annuity spending, how to quickly set up a bank card or a credit card account, and just all the basics. And what we really did was make a commitment, right? We made a commitment to giving this a full 4 like solid weeks of focused attention so that we could, turn that into a habit. Because if you can turn using Deductr into a habit, then that consistency can really pay off at the end of 2019 for us. So with that being said, everybody had so much positive feedback. They had really great questions, a few little stumbling blocks here and there. And so what Charlie and I wanted to do today was just address those. So we have tips and tricks, featured guests, and users. And so the purpose of today's session is to talk through the top questions that came in over the past week. So we've got great users that have been using Deductr for a long time, but since most of us are really just kind of getting started with Deductr, and we all have a lot of the same questions. Trust me, I had a lot of questions come in, but it really boiled down to 4 or 5 of the exact same question from like 50 to 75 people. So we just wanted to take some time and really talk through those questions with a special guest today. So on the call today with Charlie and I, we have Holly Myers, and she is a senior account executive at Deductr. She knows this system inside and out. And so she and I got to talk for a little bit this morning, and I'm telling you, she literally just knows every little thing, every little tip, every little trick. So basically, that's our goal for today, is to talk through those questions, and then we have a different to-do list. So with that being said, Holly, are you on the line?
I certainly am. Good morning, or good afternoon your time.
Oh yeah, you guys are in Texas, so yeah, that makes sense. Good morning/afternoon to you as well. Thank you so much for jumping on the call today with us. You're just a wealth of knowledge.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it. So we have all the questions on the screen right now, and really just want you to talk through. I'll ask you one question at a time, and then you can kind of provide a response. These were the most common questions that came up from users over this past week, and just keeping in mind that most people were kind of getting started with Deductr, like with a full forced commitment for the first time over the last week. So just little new things here and there. But the first one was a common one, and it was, my bank did not come up. So what should they do? So essentially, they're trying to link their bank account, and I know you said you have thousands of banks already loaded, or that we can work with. But what does somebody do if they cannot link their bank account?
Certainly. No, it's a great question, and it's the one that comes up every once in a while. If your bank is not showing in the pick list in Deductr, the best thing to do is to send an email to support@deductr.com, include the name of the financial institution or credit card, and along with the URL, so the web address that you go to sign in to view your account information, include those 2 pieces of information, send a support ticket over, and what we do is we collect that information from you, we provide it to the aggregation company, and once they start seeing a lot of requests for certain individual banks, those banks, they go out and get them, and they try and get those added to Deductr. So although it's something we can't guarantee, we want to get those names of the banks that you guys are using added to the list. First Bank card is in our bank link pick list. So that's one thing that Market America uses, and we do highly encourage you to use the bank. It's offered to you. So
Right, that's the blackshop.com MasterCard.
yes.
That we offer. That's awesome. Okay, and so that's really great. And just off the top of your head, I know you mentioned it this morning, but I already forgot it. How many banks and or banking institutions do you guys already work with?
We actually, in our pick list, we have over 40,000 different connections available.
So
and that includes a few mom and pop type banks.
Awesome. And you kind of already hit on this second question, but because we talk a lot about debit cards and checking accounts and things like that, the question about can I link a credit card has come up quite a bit. So
yes, you definitely can link a credit card. So any financial institution, any checking account, savings account, including credit cards. So if you go to search for American Express or Capital One, those are in our pick list. Many different credit cards are, including the First Bank card, Shop.com card.
Awesome. That's great. So with all of that being said, there are over 40,000 financial institutions that you guys are already connected with. And if you don't see your account, you can send an email to support@deductr.com with the banking institution and a URL to where you log into. And then that basically will, get the ball rolling on the possibility of bringing it on. I mean, you don't want to wait for that to happen because it can take some time. But it's
Correct.
important that if you do have one, that you do send those emails, because the more people that do it, the higher the priority is to get that specific banking institution onboarded. So highly
Correct.
encourage everybody to act on that if you don't see it. However, if you don't see your banking institution, that doesn't mean you can't use Deductr. The question was, can I enter things manually for non-bank accounts? And so, Holly, obviously the answer to that is yes. You want to maybe kind of explain the difference in the process? Like, how would I go about entering in manual transactions instead of just confirming ones that were being fed into by my banking institution?
Sure. So there's a couple different ways, and everybody varies on the type of system that they use for themselves. You go out and make a purchase and you get a receipt for that purchase. You could manually enter it in at that time, or you could use your debit card, credit card, checking account, and maybe just sit down once a week and enter those transactions in manually using the list provided by your bank as to what's posted to your account. So, it just depends on how you want to do it, how you want to put in the information. But in Deductr, there's a couple different ways. So when you go to the Deductr dashboard, on that main screen, there's a quick entry section right there for you. It's in yellow. Basically, you can just add your transactions manually from that screen. You can also do it from your mobile phone. So in the Deductr mobile app, you can use it there.
Awesome. That's great. So just on the same line, this other question came up and I want to ask you, it really just goes hand in hand with this one. But we had a couple of people that were really excited about the ability to share their receipts. But the question was, if I'm confirming transactions, do I also need to upload the receipt, or is the receipt reserved just for transactions that are maybe paid for in cash or outside of the accounts you have that you're confirming transactions for?
Another good question. So with the receipts, we encourage you to keep copies of all of your receipts. So the capture receipts function that's on the mobile app, just take a quick picture, get it stored in the Deductr program. That way, over time, that receipt's never going to fade. You're never going to lose it, and it's not going to be crumpled up into a shoebox full of receipts. So yes, definitely keep track of all of your receipts and get them added to Deductr. You'll want to talk to your CPAs or tax accountants and ask them how long you should keep those physical receipts for, but at least you'll be safe knowing that you've always got them available in Deductr if you capture a copy of that receipt.
Awesome. And Holly, you just mentioned something that I kind of just want to hit on again, because I know for me personally, I've gotten so many questions about things, and we're going to be providing you responses for how to best use the tool. But I don't know about you, but I am not a tax professional. So there are some questions that are coming in that I just want everybody to understand. It's not that we don't want to answer your questions. It's just that I'm not qualified to answer what is this, deduction eligible for, or whatever. We're just here to, use the tool and then, create the reports. And then it's up to us as unfranchised owners to provide those, reports and the tracking that we've done over the last year to our accountant CPAs, or to just leverage them if we're going to file on our own and, take that responsibility. So.
Correct. One thing along with that is that each year, the tax laws change. What's deductible one year may or may not be deductible the next year. And that is really difficult for us to, meaning all of us, with small businesses, trying to keep up with. It's impossible. So the best thing to do is just keep track of all of your business expenses. Anything that relates to your business, add it to Deductr. Let your CPA or tax professional decide what can be deducted and what you should remove from Deductr.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly the way we want people to go. Okay, so that's great. And then let's move on to number 4. So this was a common one, was how to leverage the app, especially when it came to like mileage and stuff. People really want to use the app so they can turn the mile tracking on and off, versus having to manually always upload the mileage. So do you want to talk? Because here's the thing, you guys, you can download the app in the App Store, but then it asks you for an email and a login. And so you don't want to pay for that because, of course, Deductr is free and included with your subscription to UFMS. So, Holly, can you explain how people can get access to the application with their, UFMS subscription?
Absolutely. So what you'll do is you'll log into your unfranchised business account, click on the tax assistant button for Deductr and launch Deductr. Once you're on the Deductr dashboard on that home screen, in the top right-hand corner, there's going to be a My Account button. Click on My Account. Once you click on that, over to the left, it'll say email password. When you open that up, it's going to show you the email address that's associated with your Deductr account. So we typically go off the email address that Market America activates your account with. So that's the email address. And then the password, you can create a password there if you've forgotten it. Once you enter the password there, now you've got an email address and a password to log into the Deductr mobile app with. And you'll just download it either through Apple or what's the other one? The Android.
Android, Google Store. We don't talk about that much.
They're still, anyway.
Yeah, they're still there too. But this is great. And I don't want to log on this because this is my actual account. But basically, that was really easy. And it answered the question because a lot of people downloaded the app, and myself included. And we were like, how do I log into the app? So it's actually not difficult at all. You just log in through Unfranchise. And, Unfranchise, you have it right in the new business center on the brand new homepage. You click on it. It opens right up into your Deductr account, My Account, email, password, and you can manage it there. So that's perfect. Okay, so this was another common question is we have several unfranchised owners that also have a secondary business that maybe own a traditional business as well. Can they track more than one business with their Deductr account?
They certainly can. And rather than taking up too much time to explain how to do this, there's a great Help Center article about it. So Sarah, if you'll just direct them to the Help Center button that's on the dashboard, Deductr dashboard.
Yep. Do you see this little...
Basically that orange button.
Yeah. I'll click on it. There we go.
And then in the search button, if you'll type multiple businesses, and any of you out there that are running more than one business, check out this article. Because the only thing that you need to do in Deductr to be able to use this for multiple businesses is basically to create custom income categories. So the expense categories that are already defaulted in Deductr, those are going to work just fine for both businesses. You classify those the same. But income streams do need to be separated. So read through this article. If you have any questions, reach out to me or reach out to our support team, and they can definitely walk you through how to do that.
Wow, that's really awesome. Thanks, Holly. So this was another question, and Charlie, feel free to jump in if you want to talk to this, but there were many people that, so we all understand the tax expense part where we want to confirm our expenses, right? But there was a little bit of confusion about the difference between logging a tax expense and logging a shopping annuity spending purchase, right? And so I'll answer this one, but essentially your tax expenses are things that you would like to write off. They're deductions that you want to track, right? So it all has to fall into, of course, the rules and regulations for that year. But, you're basically looking at, say, any advertising costs. Well, that's something that you're spending for your business, so you would go ahead and label that as a tax expense. The shopping annuity spending is the spending that you are going to do anyway. And so the shopping annuity spending, and the whole reason for that is to be able to track and see exactly how much money you spent that could have been redirected through your business, whether it was through an exclusive product or through shop.com. So the reason for doing that is to get an actual number versus an estimate, right? So when we all fill out the shopping annuity assessment, of course, we're estimating how much money we spend in a variety of categories, where when we log something in that's an actual transaction that actually happened, now you're getting an actual number. So it kind of puts things into perspective. And the other cool thing is you're actually having to categorize that shopping annuity spend by the categories that exist on shop.com. So if it's something that you're doing for personal use that you were going to do anyway, you'll know if you could have redirected it when you see it show up as a shopping annuity category. So that is really the two main differences. And so I can show you really quickly. I'll just confirm a transaction, the difference between the two. So here we have, okay. So this was let's see, this is a restaurant for some travel that I did that was not for business. Let's see. Why is this only showing me why is it only showing me the tax expense right now? Hold on one second. There it goes. All right, cool. So here you have both options. So you can categorize this up here for your tax expense, but then down here you can also add a shopping annuity category. So this would fall under food, right? Food and drink, and dining out, because that was a restaurant. And then I can put a description here or a business purpose if this was a tax deduction. The only question I have, and actually, Holly, I haven't done only shopping annuity expenses. I've only dual categorized things for myself where I'm saying it's a tax expense and also money I was going to spend anyway. So can you do just a shopping annuity category, or does it have to be either dual categorized or just tax deductible deductions?
Okay, so when you're entering a transaction, anytime you enter a transaction in Deductr, select one of those shopping annuity categories, like the tick box. And I wish I could see your screen right now to see.
You can't see my screen?
Maybe that's a question to come back to this next time.
Oh, that's fine. So I have the shopping annuity category up, and I've chosen food and drink and dining out.
Okay.
Above it, I have the tax deduction, and I've chosen, well, it would actually go under, let's see, meals and entertainment, right? So
meals and entertainment, restaurant.
Okay, cool. So I have all of this done, but the question is, can I do something as only a shopping annuity category, or does it?
Yes.
You can. Okay, great. And do you know?
You can do that under the personal category. So you'll go out of the business expenses section, and then you'll drop down and you'll see the plus for personal, and you want to log all of those personal ones in that section. Okay. Anything that's in the business expenses or income categories, those are going to show up on your tax reports as being related to your business.
That's the perfect answer. Okay, so guys, you can see my screen right now, and right now I had personal unchecked, and that's why it wasn't showing up. So, to answer that question, if you're going, in just like to summarize, if you're going to dual categorize something, that means you're going to say this is a tax deduction as well as a shopping annuity expense. It's pretty straightforward. You just choose your category. So here I am, internet, and then the other one will pop up. And then if you want to only do shopping annuity, you would choose personal here and go from there. All right, perfect.
Correct.
So we just went through that. Now, this was another question that came up, and Charlie had popped this over to me. Where are you recording your auto ship spending or expenses? And so, again, I want to just start off by saying I am not a tax professional, so you really need to get your tax professional's advice on this. But I can share that for myself, it depends on what I'm using it for. So if I'm using my auto ship for trial size marketing, then yeah, that is a deduction, right? Because I'm using it for marketing and samples. But if I'm using it for personal use, I do not write it off because it's personal use and I'm not using it for a business purpose. So that's generally the question you want to ask yourself if you're not sure if it's tax deductible or not. Is it a business expense or is it not? So that's how I approach it. That's what my accountant has advised me on, but it depends on
And Sarah,
what you're using it for.
Sarah, what I do with that is if I think it is possibly going to be a tax expense, I'll file it there also and then address my accountant.
Yes.
And he can clarify it because, as Holly said, the laws change constantly.
Right.
So it's better to give it to your accountant and explain what you were doing because sometimes my auto ship, I get to count a portion of that. He lets me do it, mine.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. And that's why I'm saying it's like so important to have that conversation, right? Because we just don't know what we don't know. Like that's that's why. And so sometimes you might not think to include something and you think it's not, a deduction, but really it is one. So it's better to have it tracked and then let your accountant make the call.
Yeah.
Correct.
Cool. And then, Holly, you kind of started to show off on this, but where to go for frequently asked questions and ongoing support. So I'm going to pull back up that Help Center. So you can access the Help Center. It's this orange button, and it's on every single page, right? It comes to here. When you're on here, there's news and webinars, and I want to bring everybody's attention to this because every single month, Holly has been putting on really great training webinars at the top of the month, right? So just one a month. When this 4-week accountability group is done, you can obviously catch the replay on YouTube, but you can also plug into live training that Deductr is doing for us. And that's, how to use it. It's tutorials on the tool. It's, answering questions. It's all that great stuff. So, highly recommend that you get your teams leveraging these webinars because the more benefits that they can get from Deductr, the better. In addition to the webinars, there's the frequently asked questions. I think this is great. Lots of questions about mileages, about how to set up, about how to link bank cards, multiple businesses, emails and process. There's tax FAQs. There's a ton of articles that are on here with it's just a wealth of information. So it's interesting after week 1 of going through this, it seems like a lot of the questions were very similar across the board. But I'm sure that there will be more questions because the more you use the tool, the more you explore, the more things that you're going to get introduced to. So this is a really great tool. Yes.
The great thing about what you're talking about, we all come across these things and have the questions, but if you look far enough into the Help Center, it is normally addressed there somewhere.
Exactly. So, and the search was great. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Let me point out one specific article that, this is something that you can include in these tasks or these goals that you guys are going to set up for this next week or two.
Mm-hmm.
From under the Deductr business or the business Deductr business section in the Help Center, go there.
Mm-hmm.
Under the setup section,
yep,
there is an article that's called Deductr Walkthrough Activities Ensuring Your Success. Click on that.
Okay.
This is something that I put together to basically do what Market America, what you guys have put out there for all of your UFOs. And that is basically just a series of steps or activities that you can do. So you'll see in the top section, there's a task, you know, do this. And then over to the right, there are articles and videos on how to do those activities. So if you have a question, most of the questions about Deductr are just going to be answered in this one article. And if it's just through the resources of this one article. So this is one that should be a go-to article.
And thank you for pointing that out, because there's a lot to explore here, but I would definitely say, I'm going to actually copy the link and pop it out to everybody at the end. This is a really, really informative link, and it's totally relevant for most of us that are still getting comfortable with the tool and more consistent with it. Receipts, business, personal reports, accounts. This is great. Great. Awesome. So Charlie, do you have any additional comments for today, or?
Actually, Holly, that was tremendous help, because I just been going through everything, and if we can address most of the answers through that one section, guys, you need
absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay, so then again, we're just keeping these, you know, we're a strict 30-minute power lunch break together. So in the interest of time, I hope this has been helpful. Holly, thank you so much for jumping on this call and being with us today and answering these questions.
Thanks for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Of course. So for this week, everybody, you have your business as usual, which is creating that habit, confirming your expenses, categorizing your shopping annuity spending, and adding and tracking your mileage, right? So that is the ultimate goal, is to be consistent with that. So I highly recommend just doing it on Friday or on a Saturday, just keeping a consistent date. I got back in there. I ended up traveling, and I have to go back in and finish mine. But, you know, I have my time booked with myself as a solid appointment on Friday to confirm expenses. So highly recommend doing that. And then also submit your accountability on Fridays. So the link is right there. It's surveymonkey.com/r/deductor. And just tell us, did you do the work this week? That little bit of accountability may be all you need to just go ahead and flip the switch and make the commitment. Also, access your Deductr account and check out the Help Center. So that one particular article, I'm going to go ahead and include that in the recap email after today's session is done. But just knowing that Help Center is there, and that it's just a wealth of information from articles and videos and simplified tasks and things like that. There's a lot of really great content in there, and most likely a lot of answers to questions that you have. And then the last thing I would advise everybody to do is just adjust one thing that didn't work last week for this week. So if you said you were going to do this, but it didn't work, why didn't it work for you? Was it not a good time that you picked? Did you need to get the app and maybe go to your settings and your account and set up your email and password so you can use the app instead? Would the mobile version of Deductr be easier than, say, doing it once a week on desktop? Figure out what little adjustment or tweak you need to make for this week, so that this week can be a little bit better and a little bit more progressive than last, okay? And other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope this has been informative. We will send out a recap email with the link for the accountability, the link for that article that Holly just mentioned, as well as a link to catch the replay of this on YouTube. All right, guys, have a great week, and we'll catch you later. Bye.
Thank you.